Hi, Waypoint. Our verse this week is 1 Timothy 1:15, which says, "Here is a trustworthy saying that deserves full acceptance. Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am the worst." Paul is continuing his testimony, which began in verse 12, and here he uses a phrase unique to the pastoral epistles, in which are 1st and 2nd Timothy and Titus. Paul uses this phrase 5 times, the phrase, "this saying is trustworthy." He uses it 2 more times in 1 Timothy, and then again in 2 Timothy and in Titus. Each time, this phrase emphasizes a particular point or quote that Paul wants Timothy or Titus to remember. And so in this case, what he wants them to remember is, Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am the worst. Now, some Bible scholars say that this quote may have become very well known in early churches after Paul wrote this letter. But some people believe that Paul's using an existing statement that was already in kind of, in the culture at the time to reinforce his point. As Paul has matured in his faith, his writings reflect a man who has transitioned from this proud new believer to a mature believer who sees himself in complete need of God's grace. Like David, Paul is seeing himself as sinful from his mother's womb. And what I'm hearing from this verse, as I read it, is that we as Christians need to remember where we came from. We were all once sinners that God needed to save, and none of us are exempt from that. Not that the shame of that should constantly be hanging over our heads and constantly holding us back, but that we should be reflecting on the grace that God gave us when he saved us. As we go out into the world and as we interact with non-Christians, we need to not operate as though we have been saved and therefore we are above them. We have to remember that we were once in the same position as they were, and we needed God to save us. As you interact with people this week and beyond, be sure to remember where you used to be and work to act in a way that brings people closer to the grace of God that you've already benefited from. Have a great week.